right, this is a very interesting clash, guys. BeanSoldier took on Jyak in the Swiss rounds, and Jyak was the victor. Now, if you remember our last event, BeanSoldier actually won the Frostfall tournament against Jyak. So these two have a starting to become a long history here. BeanSoldier again edging over Jyak in the last Frostfall tournament, but then Jyak beating BeanSoldier today in Swiss rounds. Who has the advantage? I don't know, but it's going to be very interesting as these two casters are going to be throwing down. BeanSoldier opting to expend to draw to start his turn. Going to set a rune face down. He's going to follow it up with a second one and pass his turn over to Jyak, who's going to be looking to make a huge impact and a big splash on Elestrals today with his Mustation. Beautiful start for Jyak because he's not forced to use Mustation's effect here on this first turn, and he's going to be able to attack and deal 1 spirit of damage to BeanSoldier. Let's see here. BeanSoldier going to be looking to draw for his turn and looking to put some immediate pressure on Jyak's field. It's going to be the Elechick, exactly what you want to see if you're BeanSoldier. Elechick gives him that quintessential piece to his strategy, the Demeter, the immediate search for the Divine Rune, and he's going to go grab it. We're going to see the expend on Jyak's end. That's going to swap the stats of Mustation to become a 6 attacker in response to the cast of Elechick. What that does is it means that Elechick cannot power over Mustation this turn, but it also means that if BeanSoldier wants to, he's going to have to play the Demeter, and he is indeed going to play that Demeter down with just the 1 Earth Spirit. He's going to power up his Elechick to 7 attack to attack over the Mustation and get rid of his Demeter. So really interesting plays there from BeanSoldier. Kind of some wise decision making, understanding that, yeah, you know, I really want to keep my Demeter on the field, but I also don't want to get run over by a Lavalith on this upcoming turn. And that also might mean that BeanSoldier might have another Demeter in his hand, as he didn't feel the need to keep the Demeter around. Jyak just going to follow up with a Galaxy, though. Galaxy could be big or bust here if BeanSoldier has a Gorgon's Gaze. 5 attack Galaxy attacks forward. Does Bean have an answer, or will his Elechick be sent to the underworld? He's thinking about flipping that rune. It's a Shield of Achilles. Not quite as impactful for BeanSoldier as a Gorgon's Gaze would be, but not a bad opportunity for him to get that Galaxy off the field and deal with it again on the next turn. BeanSoldier going to respond with Astrabit. Huge plays here that's going to provide him some good card advantage, as he can now look at the top 3 cards of his deck and add 1 to his hand. Could be something like an Earthquake. Could be something like another Demeter. Maybe some counter rune support. Jyak with 17 spirits. Plenty of might and muster, but he's going to be facing down 2 attacks here, and those 2 are going to connect. Jyak will be taking 2 spirits of damage from Elechick and Rabbit. And if you're BeanSoldier, I gotta believe whatever that face down rune is, it's something that can deal with an attack. Otherwise, you probably don't put Rabbit in attack position. So let's see. Galaxy comes right back out on Jyak's end. And if Bean has the Gorgons, that would be huge, but he does not. He just loses his Rabbit here. So Jyak's got to be feeling good about that exchange. But BeanSoldier starting to ramp up. Here comes the Equal Links. Will we see the Demeter again? Another Demeter as expected. BeanSoldier was most certainly not going to throw away his Demeter earlier unless he had a way to have another one hit the field. Going to enchant it with 2 spirits here, and can now immediately pressure that face down rune if he wants to. BeanSoldier has a tough decision to make here. He's going to want to use 1 spirit to be able to attack over the Galaxy, but he also wants to use 1 spirit to Nexus and take down that face down rune. If it's a Tsunami, it's huge, and it is a Tsunami. So big from Jyak. Tsunami is so massive. It's going to shift the Lynx and the Elechick to defense, and this is how you beat this Earth Nexus deck, right? Now, the good news is for BeanSoldier, he can at least switch his Elechick back to attack, and he can play the Foley Forest to buff his Equal Links to 5 defense. He can toss out his Demeter, and he can still attack over the Galaxy. So not all is lost for BeanSoldier, as he's able to clear the Galaxy on this turn. Wise plays from Bean, but he's very susceptible to a Lavalith right now. If Jyak can find it, BeanSoldier is going to need that face down rune to protect him here because he wants to keep that Lynx around for another turn. The longer BeanSoldier keeps Equal Lynx onto the field, the better off he is going to be. The more that card can Nexus and destroy runes, which is such advantage. No surprises there. Lavalith comes down. Gonna most likely target the face down rune. Does Bean have an answer? No, he's gonna lose his Foley Forest, it seems, instead. So Jyak playing his bets here, saying, you know what? I'm gonna go after the forest to make sure that I don't have to deal with that later. It does power up things like Viscerous to 6 attack. So understandable. And a Cryoblast! We have not seen Cryoblast in our top cut yet today. A new card in Daybreak. Absolutely massive as the Cryoblast takes out the Elestrals, but BeanSoldier prepared with the Tsunami, so it seems like Jyak did a really good choice of taking out the Foley Forest there and telegraphing the fact that that was probably a Tsunami face down. Again, a really wise decision there. BeanSoldier forced to expend to draw, trying to find some resources. He's going to pull off an Ambrosia to heal 3. Ambrosia's really big here, but without a combo piece to get him attack over that Lavalith, this Equal Lynx at 4 attack, gonna make that Tsunami a little weaker. Let's find out, does BeanSoldier have a way to hit over this Lavalith? This could be the difference of the game. Seems as though that Lynx gonna stay in defense, and no response to Lavalith. And it's Specterus. Specterus comes out with a Water Spirit to play around a Tsunami. Lavalith moves to attack. Specterus takes out the Equal Lynx. And now Lavalith can hit for 2 spirits here. And it seems as though BeanSoldier is going to not respond. He's going to just take the 2. No surprise there from BeanSoldier. But now he's facing down a 6 attacker and a 4 attacker and Misenchanted Specterus. What does BeanSoldier have as his comeback plays? Jyak in a very powerful position. It's going to be the Moss Station. Moss Station does give him an opportunity to hit over this Misenchanted Specterus. So a good trade there from Bean. The question is, can he keep his Moss around for another turn? Not able to utilize any Nexus mechanics here. It's going to be an Astrabit hitting the field from Jyak, further enhancing his advantage here in terms of cards. Going to be able to look at the top 3 and grab one into his hand. Jyak has decided here. Does BeanSoldier have any way to keep Moss Station alive one more turn? That is going to be the question. Rabbit attacks. It is a Tsunami. Big plays there from Bean. That was the exact card he needed in this moment. And it gives him a chance to come back in this one if he can hit another Elestral to the field, because his Moss Station can take out either of the 2 Elestrals. He needs a Viscerous right about now. Laurels will do it too, though. Laurels will clear the Rabbit. Good play there from BeanSoldier. And a Rabbit of his own. That's actually really big because he can search for an Earthquake. He can search for an Ambrosia if he wants it. He can search for a lot of different things. And it gives him another defensive Elestral to deal with kind of the, you know, the response on Jyak's end when his Moss Station inevitably ends up in defense position again. Let's see what he's got. Moss Station gonna obviously go to attack position here. There is that Ambrosia. No surprise there. Ambrosia gonna heal up 2 spirits for BeanSoldier. That must have been what he grabbed from the Rabbit. I wouldn't be surprised. Healing up at this point in the clash is very impactful because not only are you able to heal, you know, a +2 on the Ambrosia, but you can kind of recycle your spirits if you're looking for anything specific. In this case, it looks like Bean just grabbed some Earth. His Moss Station will clear the Lavalith and shift to defense position for the end phase. Jyak here. 8 spirits to go. He's got a Laurels of his own, and he's going to take out most certainly this Astrabit. He's thinking about something. He's going to alter. He's going to... Wow, a super cool play here. Altar of Stars from BeanSoldier on the target from Laurels. Going to alter off of the targeted Rabbit onto his Moss Station. But then he gets Eddied. Oh no, Eddie. Eddie comes out, swaps the position of Moss back to defense, nullifying its powerful attack stat and taking it out. Edward is here. Can I get some Eddies in the chat? And it's going to be an equal links. But does Bean have any way to get him to a higher attack than the Eddie? No, they're going to crash. Jyak fishing for more Elestrals. It's going to be a rabbit. That's huge for Jyak. And a poison-tipped arrow is a really good clapback to that, because the PTA is going to cost you the 2, but you're not going to take the 1 hit from the rabbit anyway. So it's only a 1 spirit exchange to clear the rabbit. We've seen Bean already utilize, I believe, 2 ambrosias, so his health is running really low here. The rabbit does get cleared at the end phase. Jyak does still get its effect off. Oh, he opts to actually not take out the rabbit and rather go Moss and then take out the rabbit that way. So the PTA didn't take out the rabbit. I guess I'm a little confused about the play then if you're not going to clear the rabbit at the end of the turn, but... Oh, Cryoblast again. Yep, another Cryoblast, proven to be an incredibly powerful removal tool. Cryoblast deals with cards like Moss Station. It deals with Elestrals. It deals with so many different things. Spectrus as another one. Spectrus comes out, gonna hit for 1. BeanSoldier gonna be down to just what I believe is 1 spirit left. Facing off against a card that really counters a lot of his strategies here. You can't use cards like Viscerus, and it looks like he's gonna scoop. Jyak takes game 1 of our best of 3. All right, here we go. Game 2 of our best of 3 finals. Jyak versus BeanSoldier. Jyak was able to actually beat BeanSoldier in a best of 3 in Swiss after losing to BeanSoldier in the final Frostfall tournament. So BeanSoldier gonna get his Astrabit out here turn 1. Gotta be feeling good about that. These 2 decks may look quite a bit different too after utilizing side decks. So BeanSoldier really debating on this decision. Understanding that his tournament hopes and the championship is on the line here. My dude's got to have a full wall of uncut sheets. Looking to add another one. BeanSoldier sets 1 and passes on to Jyak. Jyak's going to be able to draw a card and add a 6 to his hand. He's going to immediately throw down an Eddie. Eddie's so good against Rabbit, who dominated the previous metagames. Eddie provides that really powerful position changing. And a Tsunami, really cool play here from BeanSoldier, utilizing Tsunami to shift his Rabbit back to defense to ensure that it cannot be taken out by the Eddie. Eddie immune to Tsunami, of course, so its position stays in attack, but because Rabbit goes to defense, he can't hit over it. So a really cool play there on BeanSoldier's end. Gonna go for the re-enchant on the Rabbit, just looking to pile up card advantage at this point in the clash. Looking to execute those combo pieces. We talk about Earth Beatdown, Earth Nexus, really relying on cards like Equal Links and Demeter to put pressure on. Jyak's deck plays relatively well into that, though, because he doesn't really rely on counter runes too often. He's really just looking to trade these different attack position situations, looking to kind of stick that Lavalith to hit a big, destruction on the back row. So ultimately, kind of just, these 2 casters looking to execute their game plans. Earthquake coming out here from Jyak. That will take out the 2-spirit Rabbit. Really big plays there from Jyak. Getting rid of Rabbit with 2 spirits. You can't ask for a better situation there. And now he's going to be able to start to pile on. Spectrus hits the field. A second Elestral from Jyak. And he's going to properly enchant this one. We talk about, again, Spectrus being a direct counter to Viscerus. Very, very powerful there. BeanSoldier forced to take 2 spirits of damage. Down to 15. BeanSoldier responds with a Lavalith of his own, and a poison-tipped arrow flies off from Jyak, immediately trying to nullify the power that the Lavalith is bringing. Jyak with the perfect response to the side-decked in Lavalith. So BeanSoldier looking like he might be switching up his game plan here in game 2. Lavalith does have an opportunity to crash into Eddie here if he wants to. He is going to take that crash. Jyak will take 1 spirit of damage from that trade. Eddie does go down. It does mean that Jyak doesn't have to expend 2 spirits for Poison Tipped Arrow. So Jyak actually kind of comes out on that trade in a pretty decent spot. I don't think you're mad if you're Jyak. Like, you had the perfect opportunity to utilize that PTA against the Lavalith and give yourself a really, really advantageous position. And now you can just throw down another Elestral and continue to pressure. He's going to go for the expend to draw here, though, looking to accumulate more back row support. Seems like he found what he wanted, put it face down immediately. BeanSoldier will take 1 Spirit of damage from Spectrus, not opting to utilize any counter runes here. Mudlet comes out. That's big. Mudlet immediately shifts the Spectrus to defense position, ensuring that Mudlet can attack over it. Is Bean going to provide any sort of Nexus support for the Mudlet, though, for the following turn? No, but he is going to run into a Tsunami. So Tsunami will shift that Mudlet to defense position and ensure that he is not able to take out Spectrus on this turn. Some really interesting back and forth. BeanSoldier does have an opportunity to respond. He's got some pretty good back row. 2 face down runes. It's going to be a second Spectrus on Jyak's end, putting the pressure on with the stained glass and the hollow one. Do we have an answer here? No. Mudlet goes down, and BeanSoldier takes a Spirit of damage from the other Spectrus. BeanSoldier looking through his underworld. Jyak doing a quick spirit count. 2 Spectrus, one of which is water enchanted, worth noting. Here's a Viscerus, though. This is big for BeanSoldier. Viscerus not going to want to contest with the properly enchanted Spectrus, but runs over the misenchanted Spectrus. So really good advantage there, and that will indeed activate Viscerus effect, getting out a second Viscerus to the field in defense position. This is going to be really interesting to see here over these next few turns, because, again, if BeanSoldier has proper back row to protect against Spect, like something like a Gorgon's Gaze to shut off its effect, that could be big, because Spectrus is so good against Viscerus. It shuts off Viscerus attack buff and attacks over it. So these battle bugs sitting here on the field, 3 of them. What does Jyak have? Let's find out. He's got a rabbit of his own. Astrabbit to defense. Maybe not the worst thing for Bean, though, because his Viscerus are sitting at 6 attack. Jyak decisively grabs a rune. If it's a Cryoblast, though, that is going to be devastating for BeanSoldier. Cryoblast, a really good counter to Viscerus. It's going to be an Earthquake instead, though. Earthquake will shatter down the field, take out the attack position Viscerus, ensure that their attacks are only maxed out at 5, meaning that Rabbit survives no matter what. Jyak is going to be able to attack with Spectrus and take out the Viscera. So BeanSoldier did mount a nice little bit of advantage there with 2 Viscera on the field, but unable to keep them there for much longer. Elechick comes out, a late game Elechick. That could be big. That gives him the Demeter. That's going to thin his deck a little bit. Demeter could prove to be useful to execute some strategies with Equal Links, or maybe just provide the attack buff so this Elechick can hit over the Spectrus. Demeter does come out to the field with 2 spirits on it, and will use one of those spirits immediately to buff Elechick to 7 attack, which can hit over the 4 attack Spectrus, which will most certainly become 5 attack in this battle engagement. But with no back row on Jyak's end, this is looking pretty good for BeanSoldier to at least clear that spot. The problem is, Jyak has repeatedly shown that he's able to plop down 5 attackers every single turn. Can he do it again? BeanSoldier staying out of Lavalith and Laurel's range here. With Jyak being up 1-0, he has a chance to win this championship finals here. BeanSoldier down to just a handful of spirits. The re-enchant from Jyak onto his rabbit, taking advantage of the position he's in just to accumulate more card advantage and look for another one of those solutions like we mentioned, that Cryoblast. A Cryoblast would be devastating right now because you clear the Elechick and then you can just move your rabbit to attack and just attack for 2. Let's see if he has it. Looks like he doesn't. And it will pass on over to BeanSoldier with an opportunity to try to make a splash here. Demeter can power the Elechick over the Astrabbit, but what else can Bean do? He finds Equal Links. A little less threatening at this point in the clash where there's no back rows to deal with. Lynx gets buffed up to 7 attack, which will allow him to take out the Rabbit. Rabbit goes down, and BeanSoldier can hit for 1 spirit into Jyak's spirit deck. But with BeanSoldier now having 2 spirits on field, Jyak is poised to drop down and resting on your laurels, or a Lavalith in response. And there is the Lavalith. If you're BeanSoldier, you need a tsunami here real bad. Altar of Stars will help. Altar of Stars will help. He's going to use a spirit. He's going to move the spirit over. He's going to get rid of his Elestrals. And he's going to shift that Lavalith to defense position. The Altar of Stars does keep him in this game. This one's going to come down to the wire because BeanSoldier is definitely still in this, right? If he can find a way to clear this Lavalith, he's going to ascend? Into what? Boombat? Into a Vertalith! No shot! Vertalith hits the field, which will immediately allow him to heal 4 spirits. Vertalith up against his other brother, Lavalith. 7 defense. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. And the Ambrosia off the Vertalith. BeanSoldier is on another level. He just healed 7 spirits. 7. 4 heals from Vertalith, 3 heals from Ambrosia, and the 7 defense Vertalith sits in front of the 6 attacking Lavalith. Does Jyak even have a way to get rid of this without an earthquake? An Eddy! Oh no! Jyak with the Eddy, shifting the Vertalith to attack position. That could be it if BeanSoldier doesn't have an answer. Lavalith into attack. Eddy fires off. Vertalith goes down. Lavalith hits for 2. BeanSoldier down to 7 spirits. He draws for his turn. Does Bean have an answer? Eddy is so big, and expend to draw is rough. No Elestrals for BeanSoldier. Facing down 3. Setting a back row. Setting another back row. But none of that is going to help here. It's not going to help. You need like a shield to bounce the lith. 3 back row tsunami isn't going to save you. Another one. An Ash Rabbit from Jyak making its debut here in the top cut. And this is going to be the first time we see how nuts this card is. Jyak free to grab any 3 cards from his underworld and force BeanSoldier to pick one. And at this point in the clash, whatever Jyak's got in the underworld is going to be strong. When you're choosing between Tsunami, Earthquake, and Earthquake, man, how do you even pick? Let's see what he's going to grab. He gets a Spectrus back, so he just wants to continue to enhance his Elestral pool. Eddy attacks, Lavalith attacks. BeanSoldier is going to be forced to take 3 spirits with no response. And it looks like he's taken 3 spirits with no response here. Yep. BeanSoldier takes 3 spirits. This one is so close. Actually 4, right? Because of the rabbit. And Ambrosia, he's not out yet. He is not out yet, ladies and gentlemen. He's got the Ambrosia to heal it back. But how do you win at this point in the clash? If you're BeanSoldier. You're facing down so much pressure. Your tournament hopes are on the line. Equal Links is his answer. Equal Links Demeter Nexus, pop the face down rune. Another Ambrosia, no shot! Wait a minute, BeanSoldier. If he can find a way to get rid of the Lavalith, maybe he's still got a chance. A face down rune. He takes out the rabbit. He knows Spectrus might just bounce right out next. Checking spirit decks. Jyak draws down to just 2 spirits. His options are very limited. But he's going to throw down that Spectrus. I believe he has 1 spirit left. Jyak does. BeanSoldier, a Tsunami would be massive if he has it, but he does lose the Equal Links, and he's going to take 3 spirits here, it looks like. 1 from Lavalith, and then 1 from Eddy, 1 from Spectrus. Let's see. He's going to take all those spirits. Expend to draw. BeanSoldier's hopes on the line. He slams down his hand. He doesn't have it. He doesn't have it. PTA, Gorgons, Vertalith, none of it's going to do enough. Jyak's hand was stacked. He had Laurels. He had Boombat. He had Lavaliths galore. Cryoblast, Bluff face down. And Jyak is your first ever Daybreak tournament winner. Congratulations to Jyak for the dominant performance, not only beating BeanSoldier in Swiss, but also beating BeanSoldier in the finals. Big shout outs to Jyak with the incredible list, just running something so nuts. The 5s combo, the big beatdown, able to beat Earth Nexus here in our first tournament of Daybreak. Absolutely nuts. Congratulations to Jyak and BeanSoldier for making this far.